There are a lot of things that can turn a quarterback's day upside down. A lot of elements that can help turn confidence into dismay. For example, unpleasant weather conditions can put a signal caller on the skids, leave him vulnerable for a good lick, and then provide a less than cosmetic mud bath for him. But most quarterbacks will hang in there tenaciously in all kinds of weather with only a minimum of complaint. One thing that will get them growling and barking is a misthrown pass. A pass that hangs in the air like a frisbee and is directed into the teeth of the defense, which then easily gobbles it up. Last week, there were 36 interceptions thrown in the NFL, all of which were damaging, at least to the quarterback's ego, if not on the scoreboard. In Dallas, Roger Staubach bought himself a bundle of time to throw, but neglected to spy the streaking Jim Steinke, number 20, of the New York Giants. In Philadelphia, Steve Spurrier, under a withering rush, misfired a number-high shot to the Eagles' Artemus Parker, who gambled in for the score, only to face the disappointment of an Eagle infraction on the play and the loss of his moment of glory. In Oakland, Ken Stabler has been having a lot of interception trouble this year. In fact, if it weren't for Joe Namath, Kenny would lead the NFL in this category. Last week, Roland Lawrence, number 22 of the Falcons, returned this theft 87 yards, which helped force that game into an exciting sudden death overtime. In Baltimore, number 14, Marty Domre, saw his teammate Lydell Mitchell fall prey to an unusual turnover that could have been costly in a closer game. But at this point, the Chiefs-Colts contest had long been decided by two other signal callers. Starting for the Colts was semi-bearded Burt Jones, who with his Oriole cap on his head and chaw of red man in his cheek looked more like a pitcher than a passer. But Jones is a passer who, among last week's starters, has the lowest interception percentage in the AFC. His opponent last week was Lynn Dawson, who was drafted the same year as Jim Brown and Paul Hornung, 1957. Last week, Dawson and the Chiefs faced High Noon and a gang of young renegades from the Colt defense who were bent on retiring the master gunfighter. All afternoon, Dawson was hounded, hunted, and brought down. When he complained of the rough treatment, he was delivered more of the same. Six times the Colts' league-leading sackers roared in, their young guns blazing. The pose was posterior pointed skyward, an embarrassing position for one of the great ones. But all things must pass, except the Chiefs, who tried to run to avoid the sack and ended up being treated like a turkey wishbone. When his only recourse seemed to be up top, Dawson was harried and hurried this throw, which number 20, Jackie Wallace, returned 42 yards for a 7-0 Colt lead. For Kansas City coach Paul Wiggin, the day was a study in frustration. Then came the deluge, and it wore number 7 in blue. He's only in his third year, but he's got the young Colts on a 6-game winning streak, and although it may sound like sacrilege, Burt Jones is going to soon dim some people's memories about John Unitas if he keeps passing the way he has been. Jones' completion percentage for the season is nearing 60%, and this strike to Ray Chester just about wrapped it up for the Colts. With the issue all but dead, Len Dawson drove the Chiefs for 2 scores to prove that no matter how old he gets, the man can put a couple in the end zone on pride and wisdom alone. But while Dawson and Jones were the focal points of the day, the play of the day was presented by running back Lydell Mitchell, who burst around left end for 70 yards. With their 28-14 triumph proudly in hand, the Colts are gearing up for their all-or-nothing showdown with the Miami Dolphins. The game will be played in Baltimore, and a Colt win in that one could mean that a team which in the early going was 1-4 will end up in the playoffs. Burt Jones has brought his gang a far piece in a short time.